These are the first 5 decisions you need to make before making your wedding day timeline. Making these decisions before you make your wedding day timeline will make things a lot easier for you. In fact, you won't even be able to make a full timeline without making these decisions first. Before you even sit down to make these decisions, I highly recommend you download our free wedding day timeline guide. This guide includes full sample timelines and tons of tips. It'll help make these decisions way easier because you can see what they look like in a real timeline. Just click the link in the video description to grab your free wedding day timeline template. Now, we're going to assume that you have your venue in place by now, but if you don't, your very first decision will have to be that. You'll especially need to know if your ceremony and reception will be at the same venue or different venues before you finalize your timeline. Different venues can have different rules too. For example, a church might only allow you to have your ceremony at a certain time. A wedding venue may give you a few options for ceremony times, or they might require your dinner to start at a certain time. While you can definitely make a rough draft, you'll want to know these things before you make your official timeline. All right, let's dive into the 5 decisions you need to make before finalizing your wedding day timeline. Hi, I'm Morgan, a news producer turned wedding photographer helping engaged couples create the perfect rundown for their wedding day. After photographing weddings for 5 years, I'm sharing all of my best tips, tricks, and experiences that I share with all of our couples. Number 1, first look or no first look. The one thing that tends to influence the timeline the most is whether or not you do a first look. You'll want to decide that first, or create 2 timelines, one with and one without, and see what you like better. Now, in case you're thinking, I don't even know what a first look is. A first look is when you set aside some time before the ceremony to see your significant other for the first time. So instead of seeing each other first when you're walking down the aisle, you would set up a time with your photographer to do a reveal with your significant other. Your photographers will be close by, but otherwise it can be a nice private moment to share with your fiance. Most of our couples who choose to do a first look will do most of their photos before the ceremony. That's one of the biggest perks of doing a first look. They'll likely have more time to join cocktail hour later since most of their photos will be done. Now, we still have plenty of couples who don't want to see each other before the ceremony, and that's fine too. We just need to plan for all of the photos with both of you in them for after the ceremony. Now, if you decide to do a first look with your fiance, you'll generally want to plan for a later ceremony time. You'll need more time with your photographer before the ceremony for photos, so more time between getting ready and the ceremony. If you decide you're not going to do a first look, you'll want to have an earlier ceremony time with more time in between the ceremony and the reception for photos. Want to see the difference between a first look timeline and a timeline without a first look? Grab our free timeline samples in the link in the description. You'll get 2 first look timelines and 2 no first look timelines. Number 2, travel. Do you need to travel between venues? You'll need to determine if you'll be traveling between your getting ready location and your ceremony location, between your ceremony and your reception, or both. Are you going to take photos at your ceremony or reception venue, or do you want to go to a separate photo location? My 2 cents here, it's always easier to take photos at your venue. In my opinion, the less travel time on a wedding day, the better. It gives you more time to relax and enjoy your day. Traveling on a wedding day can be a little stressful, but you can still do it if you give yourself enough time. A separate photography location can be a good idea if your venue is really limited on good photo spots or if there's a place nearby that's special to you. When you add travel time into your timeline, always add at least 10 minutes to the actual GPS travel time. If there's a chance traffic will slow things down, add some more. It's always good to have buffer time. It's not so good to run really late. Trust me, it can take time for a couple or a wedding party to move from one location to a bus or to separate cars to another location. Our timeline guide also includes samples with and without travel time. Again, you can get a free copy in the description. Number 3, ceremony type. While you don't need to know the exact length of your ceremony, you'll want to have a general idea of how long it'll be. Will your ceremony include a full Catholic Mass? You'll want to account for at least an hour in this case. If your ceremony is non-religious, you likely won't need as long. For ceremonies without religious tradition, I always account for 30 minutes in our timelines. Most of the time, the ceremonies end up being about 15 to 20 minutes long, but the 30 minutes gives us some good buffer time. Number 4, ceremony time. A lot of things will center around your ceremony time. When our couples know their ceremony time and whether or not they're doing a first look, I work backwards from that ceremony to make the first part of the timeline. Then I work forward to determine the best time for the reception to start. Again, whether or not you do a first look will determine the exact logistics of the rest of that. If you have flexibility and don't know what time to have your ceremony, play around with a couple of versions to see what feels best. In our free timeline template guide, we give you 4 full sample timelines so you don't have to figure this all out for yourself. Most of the sample timelines include 4 p.m. ceremony times, but you can easily experiment with different ceremony times. If you want to see what a 5 p.m. ceremony time would look like, for example, you'll just move all of the times forward by 1 hour. Just click the link in the description of this video to grab your free copy of these sample timelines. Number 5, receiving line. A receiving line happens immediately after the ceremony. After the recessional, the couple, and sometimes their parents, greets the guests as they file out of the ceremony space. This is becoming less common today, but some of our couples still do this. The reason you want to make this decision whether or not you're going to do a receiving line ahead of time is because this can actually take a lot longer than you'd think. Guests tend to move slowly. We tell our couples to set aside 30 minutes for a receiving line, but if you have a large guest count, like over 200, you might need a little more time. This is especially important if you are not doing a first look. You need to account for this time if all of your photos are going to happen between your ceremony and your reception. If you suddenly decide to do a receiving line and it's not planned, you're losing 30 minutes of your portrait time, which is a lot of portrait time on a wedding day. Not sure where to start with your wedding day timeline? Download our free wedding day timeline bundle in the description below. We're giving away our best wedding day timelines that our couples have used and trusted for more than 5 years. This bundle covers all sorts of scenarios: a first look, no first look, weddings with travel and no travel, and more. Click Get My Free Wedding Day Timeline Bundle in the description below to grab your free copy.